All right, so Hyannis 2, September 10th. Remember, it's this Saturday. If you need to get to the athlete's guide and you can't find the email that Andy had sent you, the easiest way to get there is just put in Hyannis Triathlon in your browser, and then look near the top of that page. It reroutes to the Hyannis page. Look towards the top of it for athlete guide, and there's a link there and you can go right to it. That's the easiest way. It's also in the chat right now. So, so you have the link for the race meeting, or excuse me, the athlete's guide. And then you also have Lori's email. So if you need anything, Lori, she knows everything. So, so you can email her and she'll help you out. All right, so let's get started. So for this year, reminder, Friday packet pickup is from 5 to 7. It's at Craigville Beach parking lot, same place as the races. As usual, we have Aqua Safe. This year, I think Trish is doing a gravel bike race. So we have another member of Aqua Safe that will be there at 5:30. So if you're new to triathlon, this is a super great clinic for you. She'll talk about the race itself if you need that, but she'll also talk about, or her designated person will talk about triathlon in general. The swim this year, I think last year, Hyannis 2, we were able to go all the way over to the Craigville Beach Club, and we're not going to be able to do that this year. So we will be on the left of Craigville Beach, where we've done the race swim start for years. I'll show you some maps and pictures and all that in just a little bit, but just to let you know, the Olympic swim course is again only one loop. In transition, we have about 700 athletes that have signed up. So we are really excited. We appreciate you guys signing up. That means our bike racks, anywhere from 6 to 8 people per bike rack. So if you'll keep that in mind, when you're racking your bike, please do not take up the whole space. We can fit 3 to 4 people on either side. So please leave room for, for somebody else. Pre-race meeting. We started doing this in transition. It seemed to work better last year, and I'm going to keep doing that. So we'll start off with the national anthem. That's your big sign that, hey, something's happening. And then I will give any last minute details. And then the Olympic athletes will be able to leave. They will need to leave transition and go down to the swim start, and the sprint athletes will have a little more time. They'll have to about 7:15 in transition. There is no post-race yoga this weekend. I'm sorry. Subway sandwiches, though, are on. So look forward to Subway turkey, ham, vegetable with cheese. And we do have an award ceremony. Lori wanted me to put a big note about USAT memberships. If you're a longtime triathlete and you normally wait and do your one day or renew your annual membership at the race, you're like, oh, I'll just bring cash and take care of that. USAT doesn't allow that anymore. So eventually this will actually be easier for everybody, but right now it's just a pain in the neck. So please, if you have not gotten your USAT membership, whether you're renewing an annual membership or you're getting a one day, Lori sent out another email today. Find the email. There's a big link on it. Click that. It goes to the USAT, like their little portal, and you'll be able to add a one day or a USAT annual, whatever you like. It will make you sign in. So if you don't have a membership, then you just create one and you'll just be able to do that one day. It's supposed to automatically in the background, put it right into our system. Sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't work. Just save the receipt that they're going to send you via email, and then you can just send that directly to Lori. Lori's email is in this chat. So send that to Lori. If it didn't work, sometimes it's the spelling of your last name, like you ended up switching to, 2 letters by accident, or your birth date, same kind of thing. So I was born in 82, but they accidentally hit the 3 instead. Little things that you normally don't notice. It won't go through if it's not correct. So, don't get Oh, all right. Can you guys hear me now? All right. Old folks using Zoom. Okay. Can you all see my screen? Somebody Scott, shake your head. Yes, you got it. All right, guys. Excellent. Thank you very much. Sorry. Usually internet is perfectly stable here, except for when I want to use Zoom. All right. So that USAT membership, I'm going to beat this dead horse. Send your receipt to Lori if for some reason our system isn't taking it. Please do that before Friday. Friday, we are at the race site. It's very hard for us to get to email. And if you don't, you otherwise have to sit in the helpline and then get in the registration line. And that's never fun. So if you take care of it beforehand, you'll save everyone a bunch of time. Now, some of you guys have been noticing on the right side of the screen, I've got that nice water temp of 72 degrees. So somebody was out. Andy, did you go out? Did you take the temperature today? All right. So this is Craigville Beach. This was mid-morning.
It was 73.
It was 73. Okay,
But
well,
by
we're
the
saying
time
72.
By the time I got to shore, and it was colder, the air temperature was colder, so it went down to 72. But it's warm.
That was a big
It's
step.
good.
Okay, so 72 degrees. That means if you want to wear a wetsuit, you can, but you don't have to. And that is completely up to you. Half of you guys will be wearing wetsuits, half won't be wearing wetsuits. It's your comfort level. Please, if you have never worn a wetsuit before, this is not the time to do it. So you will normally have a lot of anxiety if you're putting on a wetsuit for the first time when you do a race. So make sure to practice that before or just skip it altogether. You don't really need it if you're doing the sprint in particular. All right. So other things that are new for this year, which I might or might not have mentioned in the last slide, are Tritats. So we've always done the markers, and that goes on your both arms is your bib number, and then on your calf is your age. We went to tats, Tritats that look nicer. So, so you'll see here we have the Tritats that you'll find in your bags or in your race kit. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Hold on a sec. There you go. Those will be in your race kit. You will also have a bib. This is just for running. And then you have a bike number, just for your bike, of course, and a helmet number. Please use all of those. If you don't like tats, some people don't. We also have the Falmouth Rotary Club is wonderful. They've been coming out for years, and they will be happy to mark you with a Sharpie. So it is your choice, but the Tritats are in your race kit. For anyone who belongs to a tri club or tri team, we do have the Lobster Team Challenge. Lobster Pot Team Challenge. Last year it was, Hyannis won. It was the Cape Cod Tri Team won. It doesn't take much to do. If you have any questions about this, you can find this information on that Hyannis page. You can also send a note to Lori and she'll give you a PDF that will give you more information. But it's a way of the teams being able to get some free entries for next year. And it's a lot of fun. All right. So do we have any questions? I'm going to take us off of the screen share for a quick minute. And then let's see if we can answer any questions that have come up. All right. So Sam, Lori's email was in the very beginning of that chat, which has gotten buried. So let me write it in here for you again. So that's Lori, Lori.
She already put it in. Yep.
Is she? Oh, sorry. Okay. So much for that. Bathing caps. Yes. Bathing caps are provided. So the swim caps though are latex. So if you have a latex allergy, you can bring your own swim cap. Otherwise we provide those, and they are based on the waves, the swim waves that you're going to be going in. Here, let me start from the top. Okay. The jellyfish. There won't be any jellyfish at 72 degrees. I think that we're good with that. Yeah, and Andy was out there, no jellyfish for him. Okay, looks like there's some back and forth that is beyond me. Lori's email we have. So it is interesting to watch you guys to listen to the chat. Pick up race packet morning. Yes, race packet is available from 5:30 to 6:30 race morning. We always get people that show up at 6:45 or almost 7 o'clock and they think they're going to make the swim. for the Olympic. That's really hard to do. You need enough time to get in, stand in line, get your bike over to transition, set that up, and make sure you're ready. So please allow enough time to do that. So age groups, the swim waves are based on, for the most part, gender and age groups. The only exception is youth, elite, Clydesdale and Athenas are together, relay teams are together, and then the Newbie Wave. So if you're a first-time athlete and you signed up in the Newbie Wave, then you'll be at the end of the swims. That way you don't have people swimming over you. We usually break up into 2 different waves. You choose the wave you want. Actually, with as many athletes as we have, we might actually end up with 3. But either way, I'll look at that when I look at the when we set the bibs tomorrow. Then I'll be able to see how many we have in that wave. But the Newbie Wave, everyone's always very friendly and nice, and they're not going to be rough. So if you're worried about that as far as gender, often the women are like, I don't want to swim with those men, and I totally get that. But the only exception to that are the ones that I told you. The swim versus Olympic, we have about, it's a third of the field is Olympic, and the rest are sprint. How was the chop, Andy, yesterday? Today.
Flat.
There we go.
But it was raining, and we're talking about 4 days beforehand. But currently, the weather forecast looks good.
Overnight winds look light. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Any chance of Hyannis 1 weather? I don't remember what Hyannis 1 water was like. Was that flat, Scott? Do you guys remember? Yeah, that was flat. Oh, if
Yes.
we hope so, but you never know. You have to be prepared for everything.
Current wind prediction is from the northeast and light, so it should be. But
Yeah.
you can never guarantee anything 4 days out.
Right. Can you guys hear Andy? Because his speaker's off. He's going through mine.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Race packets on Fridays from 5 to 7. The Olympic, all of the Olympic, whether it's or all of the Aquabikes. So Olympic Aquabike will go in their own category for the wave. They do not start with the age group, and then swim Aquabikes the same way. You have a separate wave. Sometimes I put you in with the Athenas and Clydesdales or something like that if there's not many of you, but you are not in with your age group. To join the Newbie Wave, send Lori Fitzgibbon, send a note to Lori, Lori, Lori at neevents.com, and she can switch your category to newbie if you would prefer that. All right, so I think I've answered all the questions. Are you guys all comfortable with that? We'll go back to our, let's see. Getting to the race. If you are a newbie, I would get to the race like 6. So that will give you that you're not like super early, but you want to be there in time to be able to make sure your bike's, everything's working on your bike, that you have a place to rack it, that you've got all your stuff lined up, that you go for a little run, just to make sure like, yep, feet are working, we're good. You might want to go into the water is usually a good idea. So you want to make sure you have time for that and you're not panicking like, oh my gosh, I got here last minute. So that would be my suggestion. Aquabike, that's a good question, Joyce. Aquabike finish line for us is as soon as you cross over that bike end, as soon as you cross the mat for the bike finish, your race is finished. Then you can take your time and get over to the finish line whenever it's convenient for you, but your time has already been counted. You are not racking by bid number. We have open racking. The only exception is clubs that have a certain amount of athletes get their own rack. So if it says reserved for somebody, then avoid that and go to another rack. Relays get their own section. What's the distance from the parking lot to the racking area for the sprint? Not very far. Margaret, if you've done Falmouth, it's nothing like that. In this case, there's a parking lot and then transitions in the other parking lot on the other side of the building. So it's not very far. All right. So any other questions? Let's hold off and let's get you back into the shared screen. All right. So we're talking a little bit about transition. So if you are a sprint distance athlete, you're going to rack your bike closer to the beach. If you're Olympic, you're going to have this row right here. Relays will have their own rack. Typically they're over here, but just depends on where we put them. So just look for the sign. Oh, that doesn't work, does it? Hold on a minute, guys. Let's start a screen sharing, double click. Can you guys see my screen?
Now we can.
Okay.
Now we can.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. So let me tell you again. So sprint athletes. Oh, first, someone was asking about the where you're parking. The parking lot's over here or across the street over here. And then there's transition. So it's not very far at all. As we mentioned that, Andy will want me to mention that if you are a sprint distance athlete and you want to get out right away after you're done with your race, but the Olympic distance athletes will still be going, you'll want to park in the parking lot that's kind of back here in this bottom right corner. There's a parking lot here. You'll be able to make a right turn. There's a police officers there. You'll be able to make a right turn so you can get out. If you're in the big parking lot, you have to cross over the bike course, which the police there is not going to let you do unless there's an opening. You might be sitting there a while. So better to be over in the other parking lot. All right. So back to sprint and Olympic. So sprint, if you are a sprint athlete, then these two rows are for you. There'll be a sign there. It will say sprint towards your right. Olympic is over to the left. If you're relays, there will be racks just for relays. Please rack your bike if you're relay in the relay racks. That makes it better for everybody. And there are relay racks on both sides. And then there's also clubs and things like that. Swim start, it's way over here. So we'll start here. You can see there's little green corrals. And I'll show you another slide that actually shows the course more clearly. But you'll go in the water, you'll come out over here on this red arch, and then you run along the beach, and then you go into transition. The bike out is over on the top left part of my screen. It's kind of cut off. I'll show you another picture in a minute. Run out is that way. Run in goes along a little path that will take you. It will be a beach finish because we have so many athletes in transition. We want to make sure you guys have room. Bike in is going to come in over this way. So you'll come there. All right. There. So that swim start I was telling you about, these are the flags you're going to look for. Those on the far left side of the beach. You do run into the water. You can walk into the water if you want. It's every 10 seconds. Well, I think we'll have 6 athletes, either 6 or 8 athletes, depends on how the guys set up the
We can do 8.
You can do 8.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll do 8 athletes across every 10 seconds. In between each wave, we wait a good minute to make sure that we've got some distance between waves. It makes it easier for the lifeguards to make sure they can keep you safe. So it takes a little bit of time. I'll talk to you before then and remind you of any of those last minute stuff about the course. Bike out, again, we've got these flags. All the flags that go out are green. The flags for you coming in are red. So if you think of it that way, you'll give you a better idea of where you're going. Of course, run out with your bike and then you'll mount when you get onto the road. And let's see, they're going the other way around. So now these guys are coming in. There's that bike in. As I said, it's red, or at this point, it's kind of pink. Dismount sign is right there. And then you'll run your bikes in as you would any other race. Swim, keep the buoys to your right. So we're going clockwise. The Olympic swim buoys are yellow. Hey, Lori, are yellow and triangle. And you'll, just in case you guys didn't hear me before, you'll keep those buoys on the right.
Turning buoys are triangles. Straight buoys are.
Straight buoys or pylons.
I forgot about the cylinder buoys. Okay, so Andy does have the cylinder buoys kind of in between these turning buoys, the triangle buoys. So you'll see those, just make it a little bit easier for you to spot as you're going through. All right, so sprint, it's these orange buoys. So again, keep the buoys on your right. And then there we go. So you'll just go right around and then you'll finish here for the sprint. All right, so this might be a little bit easier for you to see. Race morning, the tide is like dead low, so we have to be a little bit creative about how we can get you guys through here without like sending you out to sea. So I will update you as the guys are able to set buoys in enough water for you to actually be swimming. So that's the issue that we end up with over here on the end. They'll work that out. I'll make sure that you know what it is on race morning. But the yellow is Olympic. And then these orange buoys are for sprint. All right, there's the swim arch. Yes, sir. Yes, Scott, that's a very good point. Scott, would you like to add anything? Would you like me to back up? Scott? I'm so sorry about this connection. This has been terrible. This is the worst connection we've ever had. Scott, you know what, before I get back into the share, which seems to be kicking me off.
You're not on.
Scott, can you hear me?
Yes. Yep.
Yes,
I hear you.
yes. Scott, would you like to say anything about the swim?
No, you already covered it. As you said, orange buoys.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you unmute yourself?
I can re-unmute myself.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh,
So yeah, as Kathleen said, the sprint course will be orange buoys. There will be 4 or 5 of them. There'll be a nice, very easy to identify loop. The Olympic course is going to have a little bit of an extended start. They'll actually head off to the west a little bit and then follow again a series of yellow buoys with large yellow triangles on the corners and the smaller pylon sort of buoys along the long straightaways. But regardless of the course you're on, the buoys always stay on your right, and the finish is sighted by the big red arch that's on the beach.
excellent. Thank you, Scott. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to not share my screen for a while because I think that's what it's just taking a little too much bandwidth. All right. So I'm going to look at my screen and talk to you guys about what we have. So I don't forget anything, but of course, put something in chat if you have a question. After the swim, we do have the kiddie pool, so you'll be able to rinse your feet if you choose. And then the next part is the swim course. Andy, do you want to, I'm not swim course, excuse me, the race course, the bike and the run. Do you want to try sharing your screen? No. Or do you want to just talk to them about it? I'm afraid to.
You have them.
Yes, but I'm afraid that I'm going to kick me or anybody else off by showing them. All right, I'll show it. I'm sorry, guys. If
In a
so,
minute.
okay. No, that's okay. Here, come on. Let me share the screen. All right, so Andy's going to talk a little bit, starting with the sprint course. You can do it from your screen. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go.
Okay, everyone. Sorry, we've got this rain. Right now we're in a heavy bit of it. And whenever that happens, we have internet issues in this part of the Cape. So for the sprint race, you are going to leave transition on your bike. You walk your bike or run with your bike to the mounting area. You get on your bike at that point, and then you will be heading west. I guess I would say you're going from right to left as your bicycle is moving along the Craigville Beach Road. Kind of wish, is there a way to zoom this in? It's
Oops, not that one. There we go. I'm not going to get any closer than that.
well, why don't you move your cursor then with me? So you'll go along Craigville Beach Road,
Okay, here we go.
and then you will go up along Main Street in Centerville. You will bring your cursor down.
Wait, where are you going? Should I put the sprint? So they're going to go on Craigville here, right?
Right. Okay, straight up.
And then they're going to go, oops, just lost my person. And then they're going to go up. You want to come over here?
All right, so we're going to go up through Main Street in Centerville, you're going to make three quick turns, two lefts and a right. And it's going to place you on Bumps River Road. You'll be taking Bumps River Road, which is a little bit of a winding road, toward the village of Osterville. You will, there is one section on Bumps River Road which has a steep, somewhat steep downhill, followed by a left turn. There are signs, we put them up today that said caution, steep downhill ahead, but please, be aware of that. You will then, you'll be still on Bumps River Road. We will branch off onto Pond Street. And we'll take Pond Street down to,
Perfect.
oh, lost it. No, we don't take Pond Street to Parker. We take Pond Street to, let me draw a blank on the road's name. Well, it becomes Main Street soon after that, so it will be Main Street in Osterville. Off of Main Street in Osterville, you'll make a right turn to go down Parker. This is the road some of you who have done the race before, you might remember, goes by the golf course. At the bottom of Parker, there's a sharp left turn. Once again, today we placed warning signs about that left turn onto Seaview Avenue, where you'll go by the Riano Yacht Club and lots of expensive houses. You will follow Seaview until you make a right onto East Bay Road. East Bay Road will bring you by Pretty Bay and up to Main Street in Osterville, where you'll pick up Main Street. You're making a right turn there, and you will stay on that, which comes South Main Street, all the way back to Craigville. There are some steep hills. I shouldn't say steep, but just gradual hills there. And then you make a right onto Craigville Beach Road. And then it's pretty much all downhill and flat on the way back to the transition area. I think I might like to, while this is on my mind and everyone else's, maybe talk about what the bike will be for the Olympic athletes.
Okay, let me move. There we go.
So the Olympic bike is exactly the same up into Centerville, out to Austin. Scott, am I on?
Okay,
Okay, so while Kathleen tries to get her screen share back.
there you go.
So as you're coming back toward Centerville, you will be making a left turn onto Bay Lane. So there will be signs. The signs will say bike finish straight ahead, Olympic second loop, left turn. So if you're a sprinter, you do not want to follow the Olympic signs. You just want to head for that bike finish because you're only doing one loop in the course. If you're an Olympic athlete, you've got to keep your eyes open. There'll be 3 signs saying Olympics turn left. So we hope that you notice at least one of them. And you'll be on Bay Lane. You'll take Bay Lane to its end, where you'll make a left turn and rejoin the course you were on near the beginning of your bike ride. A note here, it is a bit of a sharp left. We also put up today's signs mentioning that. We put up signs also indicating that there will be cyclists entering from your right, because there could be sprinters coming along their first loop or only loop of the bike race. So please exercise care there, follow the directions of the staffers at that intersection and merge. It's not much different than merging on an entrance ramp to a highway, except hopefully you're going a lot slower. You'll do the second loop of the bike. And once again, now that you've done your 2 loops, you will just head straight into the finish, follow that sign that says bike finish and head in. No matter whether you're a sprinter or an Olympic athlete, as you get close to that right-hand turn to finish the bike course, this is to make a right-hand turn onto Craigville Beach Road, we have a neutral area. And the reason why we have this is because there's a lot of traffic. There's not a lot of traffic on the road, but the road is narrow. So what traffic there may be, the police have asked us for a number of years now to be very careful here, and we channel in with orange cones about a 6-foot wide corridor near that intersection for you to go through. So you do not have the use of half a road as you do for much of this race. You will only have a area where it's not really safe for bicycles to pass each other. So if a bicycle does pass another bicycle in that neutral zone, the coned area, you will be penalized, much in the same way you'd be penalized if you were drafting or if you were blocking on the bike. So that pretty much covers both of the bike courses. When you approach the transition area, you will see staffers and volunteers listen to their shouted instructions, which is usually along the lines of slow down and dismount here. We do have a nice big sign that says dismount, that you have to be off the bike by that point. There is no riding a bicycle in transition area. Once again, you walk or run with your bike to the same place where you picked it up. You don't take your helmet off until after your bicycle is on that rack. Take off your helmet and get prepared for your run. For the run, you're going to be exiting the transition area on the, looking at this map would be the far right side. And you'll be heading east in the opposite direction as the bicycle course. And the purple lines show this lollipop course, you can think of it. You'll be heading up on Craigville Beach Road in the direction of Hyannis Port. And what you'll be doing is you'll be running on the left side of the road. This will be very quiet. If there's any traffic on this road, it's because someone snuck out of their driveway to go to the supermarket and they suddenly realize there's a race going on, even though they've been notified ahead of time. So it's not as if you'll have to deal with a lot of cars. You will be making a left off of Craigville Beach Road onto Strawberry Hill Road. You may notice as you start your run that the road surface is paved, but it's not great. And it will get worse on Strawberry Hill Road. And I checked it out today, and it is paved. Strawberry Hill Road is paved, but because they've been doing a lot of water main and sewer projects in that area, they keep chopping up the road, and then they seal it over again until they decide to chop up the road again and seal it over again until they finish, which will hopefully be in time for our June race, Hyannis Triathlon next year. We might have a very smooth run course, but right now it's not smooth. So please, take care with your footing. You're on Strawberry Hill Road, which once again is a little beat up. You make a right onto Old Craigville Road. That's in better condition. I guess they haven't gotten there with their heavy machinery, and then you'll make a right turn onto where did I lose it?
Old Town Road.
Old Town Road, yeah, lost Old Town Road. Right turn on Old Town Road. Soon after you've made that right turn on the Old Town Road will be an aid station, which will have water and Gatorade. You'll work your way down to Craigville Beach Road again, make a right turn. And sprinters, this is your, it's all straight from here, and it's actually all mildly downhill from here along Craigville Beach Road, heading down toward the transition area. You will be guided along the side of the transition area to the finishing straight with the finish line, which will be this, for this race, it will be on sand. We're talking about 50 yards at the most of sand. So, and you'll cross the line. Olympic racers, we have to get you to 6.2 miles. And the way we do this is you follow the same course that I've described, where you've taken Craigville Beach Road, Strawberry Hill Road, Old Craigville Road, and come back down in Old Town. You will make the turn to head back with the sprinters. But as you are approaching about the 2.5 mile mark for the sprinters, you will see a U-turn sign for Olympic athletes only. Here's where you make the U-turn and you come back up, and you have to get on Strawberry Hill Road again, Old Craigville Road, etc. You're doing this little circle one more time, and then you take Craigville Beach Road, and this time you go straight on through and into the finish line for that. Do not make the mistake when you're running Craigville Beach Road of making a right-hand turn on the Strawberry Hill Road, thinking that's how you do your second loop. No, there's no sign saying you should do that. So please, there's a sign for everything in this course. And so you wait until you see the sign that says make a U-turn here. And I think that pretty much covers it, but we'll answer any questions after we finish with the PowerPoint.
All right. Okay. We love having spectators, and it's always fun when people have signs, smiley faces. If you have family or friends that are coming with you and they want to be part of the action, we can always use more volunteers, and they get a free t-shirt and they get some swag and lots of things. So, so if that's the case and you've got some people that that are happy to volunteer, please send an email to Lori at LORI@neevents.com. Lori's gonna be very busy, but she could really use some more volunteers. We can always use helpful volunteers. All right, so before we go on to the first timers section, let's just make sure to cover anything that we haven't already. Let's see. So let me start back a little bit farther here. Minors, I think that was a question that that I noticed before. If you come with your minor and show your ID, and then your minor will be all set for pack and pickup. I think Scott mentioned as far as any stroke is fine, but backstroke is probably not going to be good for you or anybody else around you. Otherwise, you're fine. You can hang on to the rescue boards of the lifeguards. So if you are swimming along and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, wait a minute, I need a minute, then you can hang on to their board. It's no problem. You can still move on with your race as long as they don't move you forward. If they say, you know what, you're looking, kind of rough and I think your race is done, then that would be different, in which case they'll bring you in. But normally people will just hang on for just a minute. Sometimes it's, you took in some water, or your wetsuit's too tight, or you just had an all-out panic attack, which happens when you're in the water with a bunch of people. So no problem at all. If you need anything, lifeguards are watching you very closely. You can, look at them with a panicked look. That's usually all it takes. If you want to, try to get your hand up or something like that, that's fine too. But you can hang on to them if you need it. The Marty, as far as the yellow buoy, it does look like that's left. We need to wait until we're setting buoys the night before the race because of the low tide. It's so low that we're going to have to be creative about how to make that rest of that course finish. We will make sure that you know before you actually start in the water. There will be turning signs on the bike and the run, but you have to look for them. They're bright, they're yellow or they're white, but sometimes when you're racing, you're not paying attention. So just pay attention to turns. You'll be able to see the signs. You'll know where you're going. Bike course isn't completely closed to traffic. There's usually some cars there, but it is relatively minimal. Family and friends can track you every time you come into transition. This is it's not Ironman, so we can't track athletes while they're out on the course. But sprint and Olympics aren't that long. You're going to see them in a short amount of time. Be sure to ask them, hey, how long do you expect to take on the bike or the run? And that way you'll kind of know when to be looking for them. And for those that are spectating, please cheer for everybody. I notice a lot of times there'll be spectators that are out on the course and they're waiting for their loved one and they're not clapping for anybody else. Clap for everybody. You've got nothing else to do. And it will make your time much more fun. All right. So let's see. The question Ed had, my first time on the bike sprint going from Craigville Beach Road over South Main Street, and this might be for you. It looked like I needed to slow down, but the police and volunteers waved me through. I'm glad that they did a great job of controlling traffic. Yes, anytime you're in an intersection, there's a police officer, always look at the police officer. Normally what he's doing is stopping all traffic so you can go through. Every once in a while, for some reason, they have to stop the athletes to let traffic through. It rarely ever happens in Hyannis. Sometimes it does. So just kind of pay attention to the officers there and they will make sure you stay safe. You do not need to wear your running bib on the bike. You only need to wear it on the run, but you need your bike number that we'll give you. And so you can put that either on the crossbar on your bike, or you can put it on the seat post, whatever works best for you. You can wear a Camelback for the bike and the run. Just don't wear earphones. So far, no one's mentioned those blasted earphones. No earbuds, earphones, anything like that on the bike or the run. That is actually a 2-minute penalty if you're caught. Mile markers along the bike trail. It's been a long time since I've been on the bike trail. Andy, do you have any mile markers on the bike course?
Yes, we have mile markers at, I don't think I can join you at this
Come on
point
in.
if we're getting into questions.
Yeah.
We have mile markers at 5, 10, and 15 miles. 20 seems superfluous because 20 is just about at the finish line of the bike course. So for the sprinters, all you'll see is the 5-mile mark. Well, you'll see all of them or most of them, but you can ignore the 15-mile one because that doesn't pertain to you. Obviously, that's for people who've done a second loop. So we have the 5-mile, and that you'll know your race or your bike leg is about halfway done when you see the 5-mile mark. And we also will have signs for each mile on the run.
Okay. Margaret, you asked about serious uphills on the run. Andy calls that first hill not serious. He's like, oh, that's an easy hill. I'm not a great runner.
That's gradual.
I'm not a great runner. So for me, I'm like, that's a hill. It is gradual, but it's a hill. So you'll see it when you go up. You'll walk it if you have to. It's just the beginning of the course, and then you get to run it on the way down. So it's not too bad.
So you've got a 1/4 mile of flats before you start going up it. Yes, it seems like it's always lousy when you start a run and you're going uphill early on the run, but this is not a hilly part of Cape Cod, so I think
it's not terrible. It's not like it's not a cliff.
Yeah, I don't want to oversell it as being that difficult. I by the way, the latest report that came in from the harbor master is that the winds will be about 5 miles an hour from the northeast, which is wonderful news if that holds. When we get a little bit of chop, it's because the wind's coming from the south, which is exposed. And in this case, with the wind coming off the land, it takes a long time over the water before that starts building up into a chop. So good news there.
Okay. Mechanical. Oh, that's a good question. So we do have C Sports. C Sports has been our bike support sponsor for a number of years. They will be either in transition or right outside of transition if you have a mechanical during the race, or you need a little more air in your tires or anything like that. We also, while we're talking about bikes, we always check your brakes when you come in to transition. It takes just a minute, but we check your bikes and we check the plugs on the ends of the bikes at the end of your handlebar, just to make sure that those are plugged and you don't have like an open hole. It takes just a minute to go through transition, but it's just to make sure that you're safe out on the course. So if you find that you don't have those, of course, you can always go to your mechanic, but C Sports will also have some of those little plugs. We'll just say, go over there. And if you have any issues with your brakes, then you can also go to C Sports. They'll be able to help you out with that. So those Tritats, there's a little, I'm like right near the end. There's a little instructions that are on the sleeve. It's if you're coming the night before, you can do it at home and just read the directions, and you just peel off the thing, stick it on your arm, and put like a wet sponge for a minute, and then peel off the paper and off you go. We will have those, we'll have some sponges and water outside of transition or inside of transition on race morning as well. If you don't want to deal with that, you can just have someone mark your arms and legs instead. Spectators can park in the big parking lot, or if they're only going to be there for the sprint, then park across the street.
Yeah, we have enough parking for athletes and spectators. They don't have to park far away like in Falmouth.
Right. Yeah, this isn't like Falmouth. Margaret, I agree with you. Better to have a little uphill on the way out on a run than at the very end. Going uphill always stinks. Camelback on the bike and the run is a yes, Tracy. All right, did I answer everybody's questions for that? Because then we'll move on to the new athletes.
Yeah, I'm going way back decades, but I tried a camelback once during a sprint race and I found it difficult. So I would suggest, Tracy, that you give it a try on a bike ride this week before you make that final decision, because basically I couldn't get any water because I was breathing hard, and the little mouthpiece was going flying around, and I was trying to reach it. It didn't work out very well for me, but that doesn't mean it won't work out well for you. But give it a practice first.
You paint such a pretty picture of that.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it was like.
Okay. All right. So so for anyone that is not new to triathlon and you're like, hey, it's time for me to eat dinner or go to bed or whatever, by all means, we appreciate you being on this long, and we will see you either Friday night or Saturday. For those of you that are new to triathlon and you have some questions and you want to get some more information, then stay on with us, and we'll run you through that. So for everybody else, thanks so much for being on, and we look forward to seeing you. All right. So for those of you that are new to triathlon, I was mentioned body marking. And some might be going, okay, what are we talking about? So this is it. So his number is 161, and this is a member of the Rotary Club, and she's actually marking him with a Sharpie. It goes on both of his arms, and then on his calf would be his age, or if he's a relay team, it would be an R, or usually an A or a Q for Aquabike. So now we have tats, the Tritats. So those you can stick on yourself and they look nicer. It's up to you. Either way, we want you to be marked. And there we are. There's the calf right there. So they take great care to make sure that you are marked as properly as they can do. So transition, some people, that's a scary thing, right? So I was mentioning before that the sprint athletes are on the right side of transition as you're going in, and the closer to the water, and then the Olympics are on the left. So this is kind of a funny view. That sign right there says sprint athletes only, and the sign that you almost can't see says Olympic. To see everyone's racked, you go every other, and I'll show you in a second, so that way one bike's facing one way and the next bike's facing the other way, so that way we can get all the bikes in and no one knocks your bike off when they're trying to get theirs out. You see that people are going through transition. This is only athletes. Spectators are not allowed in there unless you are a coach of a high school team, in which case you can be with your high school students. Otherwise, athletes only in transition. So it's talking about racking your bike. So this is how you rack your bike, by the seat, or some people call it a saddle. So you're going to rack your bike by the seat, not by the handlebars. When you rack by the handlebars, you end up racking right here with your brakes, and you might actually end up breaking your brakes when you're pulling that off, or if somebody else knocks your bike by accident. So you always rack by the seat. If you have a bike that there's a few bikes that this is hard to do or impossible, then you can put your bike on the side. Instead, just, put it up against this A-frame right here, and that would be fine too. So the next bike is going to face the opposite direction. So they're going to rack on the seat. You see how you kind of scoot it underneath. So you scoot it this way and you put it up there. And then when you want to take it down, you do the same thing. You just kind of pull it down and out it goes. So everyone's got lots of stuff. Please avoid bringing a bucket if you can. It looks like he's got a nice seat going on there, which is great. You can sit down, but the problem is it gets kicked, or someone trips over it, or you trip over it. And so if you can just kind of bring a bag, like a backpack type thing, and then keep all that stuff right by your tire. And I'll show you. Oops. I was going to show you what I mean, but I don't see it there. So, so you want everything to be by your front tire. In transition, you only walk or run in or out. You never ride your bike. Andy mentioned that before. So when you come in on your bike, you're going to dismount before you get to transition. This is every single race is the same way. You can never ride your bike in transition. It's completely unsafe. So right here, this is a dismount sign. And you've got people shouting at you saying, dismount, dismount. And so he's ready to get off of his bike. She's now off of hers. She's going to run her bike into transition, and so is he. And you'll do the same thing on the way out. So you'll run your bike until you get to the road, and then someone will say mount. And then there's usually a line, or they'll say right there, and then you can get on your bike and off you go. So here they're coming into transition. There's that sign again. So it's red, the flag is red, so you know to come in. Oh, wow. And that was it. All right. So let me get off the share, and then I can answer questions and things like that. I showed you a lot of stuff earlier, which some of it you might have found confusing. And so if anyone has any questions about, well, you were showing this or whatever, and then we can answer other questions that you have. Let's see. Ella, you are you're a first timer, but you're also 17. So you're passing a lot of people. All right. So Ella, if you are fast on the bike and you're thinking you're going to be passing a bunch of people, then you'll want to be in with your age group and not with first timers. If you're 17 and you're doing a triathlon, typically you're already on swim team, or you're very comfortable in the swim, in which case that's usually half the issue with someone wanting to be in the Newbie Wave, because it's at the end and you're not going to get swim over. If you're a great swimmer, you're going to be one of the first ones out anyway, because of the youth. Youth always goes early. And so you're going to be out on that bike course. You're not going to have to be passing a bunch of people. So hopefully that helps. You feel free to send me a note or send Lori a note, and we can help you with that.
I would think that you may want to stay with your age group because you'll have a clearer course ahead of you.
That was my point.
Yeah. And there won't be as many bikes. But keep in mind, if you don't feel your bike is very good, let's say I shouldn't say not good. Let's say you say, I can really only keep my bike going at 14 or 15 miles an hour. Well, you're going to have a lot of people passing you, and that's fine. They can all pass like crazy, and you just go about your merry way, but you'll want to stay over to the right. And for some people that can spook them. On the other hand, like Kathleen said, if you go with the first timers, and you're pretty good on the bike, you are going to be trying to get your way past a lot of people
Right,
as
right.
you go. But you will only be eligible to win your age group award if you go with the other age groupers. But there is a separate competition first timers.
Right, right. So yeah, you could win that. Also, if you wanted to, actually, it's your first race, you don't worry about it. If you want to like rank nationally, you have to do it within your age group. So that's a whole nother thing. Excuse me. Jim, you may not wear fins. So for anybody in the water, no fins, no paddles, no earphones. But you can wear, some people feel more comfortable with a safe swimmer buoy. So it's not really a flotation device. It does float, but it floats behind you. It's like you're not hanging on to it. There are some people that feel more comfortable swimming with that. We're okay with that in our race. Most races, that is not the case. So you have to always ask, as long as you're swimming the last wave, so you don't end up clotheslining somebody with your buoy. So if you want to swim the last wave with a swim buoy, and as long as you're in the first timers wave, no problem. That's fine with me. Also, we should mention, and I should mention it before, we were talking about swim caps. Red swim caps. If you are anxious in the water, if you have a medical condition, if you are like, this is my first time and I want to get all the eyes on me I can, you'll want to ask for a red buoy. Excuse me, not red buoy, a red swim cap. So when you go to pick up your packet, then there'll be a swim cap in there for your wave. You could say, oh, can I have a red swim cap? And they'll hand you a red swim cap. And then you'll just wear that instead of the swim cap that's in your pack. And that way, Scott on the water, Andy will be on the water as well, along with our lifeguards. Then they know, oh, I'm going to keep an extra eye on that person. So, so it usually helps us add safety on the water, but also helps you, so you know that you've got extra eyeballs on you. You do not, Lori, you do not need to lock your bike in transition. So transition is secure. When you come in, we make sure that you have your bike, has your number, you're numbered, you have a packet, you're good. When you leave, we do the same thing. So, and oftentimes I'm there, or Lori's there as athletes are going out. And we make sure that the number that's on your arm is the same number that's on your bike. So you took your bike. So no need to lock it up. As a matter of fact, you're not going to be able to get that lock off when you come out of the swim and you're ready to run or ready to bike, and you'd be like, I can't get this thing off. So, so don't do that. Don't worry about a lock. Our transitions are safe.
On the swim safety issue that we were just talking about, I think Scott will second the motion here. If you're having trouble during the swim, and people do, it's just we always have some people in every race that they're having a tough time, and it may be for all sorts of reasons. Maybe it's not necessarily that they're a poor swimmer, it might just be that they got some water in them, or or they have a cold and they realize how that affects your breathing when you're trying to swim. Let us know, talk to us. You can talk to the guards as you go by. You can ask to hang on to a kayak, or well, we don't have kayaks, a rescue board for a few moments before you get going on, actually for as long as you like. But if you are really in distress, get your hand up in the air and just let us know. Don't fight. There's a tendency for some people to just, I'm just going to stick with it. I'll just keep trying. I'll keep trying. I'll keep trying. And then maybe they get into deeper trouble. So let us know, talk with us, talk with the guards. It's not against any regulations to even have a chat with us. Scott and I all the time are asking swimmers, hey, how's it going? And because we just want to make sure you're all safe out there. So please do that.
Okay. So, yeah, exactly. The lifeguards and Scott and Andy are out there for you. So, so they're always happy to help where they can. So Margaret, you were asking about the bike out. So let me see if I can share that screen and show you. All right, so hopefully you guys can see this. Ignore the whatever's on the side there. The bike out is over here on the left. So you're correct. This is bike in on the right. So you'll come in from the swim here, whether you're sprint or Olympic, you'll get your bike, and then you'll exit over this way. You'll then ride, off you go. And then when you come back, you're going to come back in here and you're going to get off your bike, rack that, and then the swim, they run out is over this way, and the run in, there's, you'll see it when you're there, but it's all over on that left side over here.
When you get yourself all squared away, your bicycle's in its rack and your gear is on the ground, and maybe you have what you want for swimming, take a walk around and take a look and get a look at what the entrances and the exits look like. A lot of triathletes will also get into the water a little bit ahead of the race, and maybe they'll swim out just a little bit and they'll look around, because the world looks different when you're on the surface of the ocean as opposed to when you're standing on the beach. And you can kind of get a better sense of where you are and where you're going in all those respects. Someone was asking about how long the course is open for.
Mhm.
Oh, did you get that already?
No. I
Oh,
think
okay, I chunked up.
Yeah,
I
I
saw it. Okay,
jumped.
so I guess that answer is until the police tell us they have to shut it down.
Right,
Yeah.
which every once in a while happens, but it's rare. We leave the finish line up until the last finisher comes through. Sometimes on the bike course in particular, the police, it's usually Olympic athletes that might still be out there. Maybe they had some issue with the swim, and so they got started on the bike later, and they'll say, "I'm sorry, we have to close down the bike." It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen every once in a while. I don't know what point that is. If you're a sprint athlete, I wouldn't expect that to happen. Sometimes there's been a couple of Olympic that has. I don't know if that really answered the question. You have an idea of time?
I mean, it's getting. Well, if you're doing the sprint, you're going to have a lot of time because we have to wait for the Olympic athletes to get in.
Yeah,
So I'm guessing somewhere in that 11 o'clock range,
I think it was before that.
a little bit 10:30.
Yeah, it's probably more like 10:30.
Sorry.
Okay, so, and you can always, sometimes you start a race and it's just not your day. It didn't start the way you wanted, or, maybe you weren't feeling well, or it just didn't work. That's fine. You can always stop racing. Just make sure to tell someone I'm wearing a gray shirt today. Usually I'm wearing a red shirt. Scott, Lori, Andy, we're all wearing red shirts. There's also yellow shirts. I have a yellow shirt over here. So most of our staff are in shirts like this. So you can always go to one of them, or just go right up to the timer and say, "Here's my bib number. I'm done." And then race a different day. Like, don't push it if you don't feel like that's good for you. It's all about keeping you safe and happy. Chelsea, friends and family are not allowed in transition at any time.
Unless you're a minor.
But only if you're a coach of a minor.
Oh,
Parents,
okay.
no parents either.
No parents.
Nope. So nobody's allowed in transition. That's where
you're my coach now.
So somebody else earlier was asking about locking up their bike. That's why you don't have to lock, someone doesn't have to lock up a bike, because we don't let other people in transition. So nobody else is allowed in transition. But if you have friends and family that want to volunteer, we might be able to, put them somewhere where they're closer to you.
I would also point out, Kathleen,
See,
that
it looks
when
like Ella
you,
is, sorry, hold on just a sec, Scott, I can't hear you. Go ahead.
Sorry. I just wanted to say it's also important to remember that when you do pick up your bike out of transition, you do have to have something that proves your number with you, so that you can actually take your bike. So for people who are worried about security, that is sort of one of those things you do have to sort of remember, is that you either have to have the number on your arm or your race number or something like that for you to be able to take a bike out of transition, so that nobody just walks in and steals somebody else's bike. And that sometimes frustrates people because they're like, "I already put my stuff away." Just remember, it's there so that your bike does not get taken or anything else gets taken.
And I have yet to hear of a bicycle being stolen during a triathlon, and Kathleen and
Well, our races, at least.
Well, I've yet to hear it at
Yeah.
any triathlon. It's not, I'm not
Yeah.
saying it hasn't happened, but I mean, you and I do
Yeah,
races in
yeah.
Miami with 2,000 bicycles.
That's true. Yeah,
and
not there.
never
Yeah,
heard
I can
of
only
it.
think of one instance in the 20 years. But not from any of our races. That's never happened whatsoever. The good question, Margaret. So your age is considered USAT age. So whatever age you are on December 31st is the age you are for this race. So example.
Scott answered it.
Oh, sorry, Scott. I didn't see it. I need to like scan a little bit more. Sorry about
Do my
that.
best to triage the easy ones.
That's sorry.
I like the term triathlon jumpsuit. Thank you for Tracy for that. That's
I do like that. Yeah, I like that too.
you can wear just a swimsuit and put bike shorts over it or not put bike shorts over it for the bicycle leg. You can buy a one-piece suit or a two-piece suit. You can
Whatever works for you, as long as you're not naked in transition. That's all I ask. The I wouldn't wear a one piece or a jumpsuit, as you say, unless you've, or actually any of the triathlon gear, unless you've been training with it, because otherwise you get like chafing and things like that. Like you've got to kind of work it in a little bit. So if you've been wearing shorts and a shirt, then wear shorts and a shirt. Just keep in mind that when you're out in the water, you don't want like a loose shirt. So you want something you can put on over a wet body.
Yeah, because it's hard to get a shirt on when your body is wet. But you know, a lot of people have the tight shorts for the bike leg because they think, oh, I'll go faster. Yes, you will go faster, but over the course of our race, you're going just a few seconds faster by having a specialized bike short as opposed to just putting on a pair of baggy shorts.
Yeah.
So
yeah, as long as you're comfortable, right? Time limits for swim. I think we kind of covered that. We've never had a time limit for a swim, for the swim, except for our last race. We had someone took 45 minutes, and that kind of threw her off with everything else. So we're not going to have that. But we've never had an issue at Hyannis for a swim time. Usually, you know, even if it takes you half an hour, you're good. How many newbies are in the race? That's a good question, Jim. I don't know. I will know tomorrow when I.
Lori is
did you
going
answer?
to her computer? No, she's going to her computer now. She can maybe come up with a number.
Okay. Do you know, Lori, or do you want me to go on to the next question? Wait, you turn on. You're muted.
Continue on with the questions. I'll get you the answer.
Okay,
In a second.
okay,
I
no
have to
problem.
export the list.
Oh no. Okay. All right. So surface of transition is pavement. Most people will be barefoot.
Almost everyone.
Yeah.
And, you know, our staff will be inspecting the surface of the parking lot the day before the race and looking for any possible, you know, glass or stones or something along those lines. It's the sandiest beach going. So from a standpoint of getting from the water's edge to the parking lot, you're going to enjoy that barefoot ride. But almost everyone is just running in bare feet.
And that parking lot was paved, I think, a year ago. It's a very
Yeah.
smooth parking lot.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So the question, Lindsay, there's no dumb questions. Your bib. Yes. You'll want to pin your bib to your shirt. If you're swimming, like if you're swimming in that shirt, you don't want to wear your bib in the water because it will pull off and will rip your shirt, and you don't want that. But we do have pins will be in the race packets.
Okay.
So we provide pins. You don't have to bring your own. If you're wearing a wetsuit, not a big deal. You can have your bib on and then you put on your wetsuit and it's not going to get water. But the bibs are Trivec, so they're waterproof. But it will still kind of really gets in the way when you're swimming. If you, so every once in a while see someone going to get in the water and they're wearing their shirt that they're wearing for the bike and or for the run, and they've got like their bib on. That you don't want to do. In that case, you want to put on something that already has the bib on it. After you finish the swim and you're going back into transition, just make sure you can get it over a wet body. Did I miss any questions? Because I got to the bottom. Oh, Lori, do you have an answer to the new athlete question?
140 at this time,
Nice.
140
In the newbie category.
Yeah.
newbie categories. Yep. Also known as first timer, if you don't want to be called a newbie.
So is that going to be 3 waves probably?
Yes. Yeah, so I'll expect to break that into 3 waves because I don't like too many of you guys to be together. It makes people really nervous.
That is combined though, sprint and Olympic. I didn't
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. In that case, it won't be more than 2. Marty, no, I was talking about sprint for the 45 minutes. No, Olympic, you're fine. Don't worry. Yeah, don't worry, Marty. I was referring to the sprint.
But there'll be a number of Olympic athletes taking longer than 45
Yeah,
minutes
yeah,
to
not a
that-
problem.
To do that one.
Margaret, you want your bib to be on the front. Couple of reasons we want to be able to see that. And when you're crossing the finish line, you're going to have a picture taken of you. And if you have your bib number on, they'll know who you are because they've got your race number. So that's the important part. We need it for officials, but that's really the personal reason. So you've got to get a nice picture. All right. Have I answered we have answered everybody's questions? Is there anything else that we've missed? If you guys want to throw it in.
Did we talk about timing chips with newbies?
We didn't.
Yeah,
It's a
probably
really
should.
good, it's a good thing. So, so timing chip is going to go on your left ankle. Timing chips that we have now are not disposable. So they'll have a little Velcro. It's a little box that's Velcroed onto your ankle. You need to have that on through the entire race. At the end of the race, then you'll take that off, or someone will take it off your ankle, put it in a bucket. That's how we know how you're doing throughout the race, and we can track your times. If you're a relay, then you're going to take that anklet and you're going to switch it from one person to another. So the swimmer's wearing it first. When the swimmer comes into transition at the rack, then usually you have whoever's running is going to take it off the swimmer and put it on the biker. And that way the swimmer's not having to bend down. And then the bike goes off with the chip on, the bike comes back, and then usually the swimmer will take that chip off of the biker and put it on the runner. Or you can each do it on your own, doesn't matter. As long as you're at your rack in transition, you may not be anywhere else. You have to transition at your rack. So, and that kind of answered the chip question mostly, right, Scott?
Yeah. I would also just suggest to people, make sure that when you put it around your ankle, you actually put it on sort of the smallest part of your ankle. Sometimes I see people sort of put them around their calf and then they slip down and now they're not tight and they're waggling all over the place. So it sounds a little silly to bring it up, but think about putting it around that nice narrow part of your ankle so that it's not bothering you later.
Right, that'll make it much more comfortable.
Right. There's been a couple of questions about the bib. It's great that you're thinking about this ahead of time, because so much of triathlon is planning and like trying to think, how am I going to do this? How am I going to work that out? That's one of the interesting things about this sport. But the question, can my bib go in my shorts? Yes, it can. However, we do need the bib to be facing the front during the run. Anyway, it doesn't have to necessarily be facing the front during the bicycle part. And some people will, many athletes you'll see will have belts that have their bib on the belt. The way, with the wonder of Amazon, you could, for less than $5, order a race belt on Amazon. If you got Amazon Prime, you'll probably have it Thursday or Friday, and you can attach your bib to that belt, and then you don't have to worry about the whole pinning thing. You just when you're ready to go on your run, you just grab your belt and you just put it around your waist and click, and off you go. It's generally speaking, we don't try to talk first time triathletes into spending money unnecessarily, but that's about as inexpensive as you can get. So it's something you may want to think about.
Yeah, that is worthwhile.
Yeah. Porta potties.
Yep, I was gonna answer that.
Okay.
So there's plenty of porta potties and the bathrooms are open to the beach house. It does take you a little bit to go out of transition and go over to them and back. I can tell you a little veteran triathlon secret that is kind of gross, but it's what we do. Pee in the water when you're swimming or before you come out. That's when you pee, and that way you're usually good for the bike going into the run. It's up to you. But there are a lot of triathletes that will do that. And I see Andy and Scott are both like, yeah, well,
there's also something that happens to the body, and you may be surprised at how you don't need the porta potty or the restrooms. There's going to be plenty of porta potties in transition. There's also
not in transition, outside of transition.
And there's also a bathhouse. And here's our little secret for those of you who are still staying on is the entrances to the bathhouse restrooms are behind the porta potties. So you just kind of go around the porta potty and you can have yourself a more pleasant experience in the men and women's restrooms.
Right. Most people don't notice that. They wait in that porta potty line,
Yeah.
and it's like 10 people deep. But then you go into the bathrooms, which are there, and they flush, and you get clean water and everything, and they're practically empty. So that's a great tidbit. GPS watches are fine. That's no problem as long as. Oh, sorry, Scott already answered it. Timing chip and wetsuit. Any advice, Scott? Do you want to give the advice about the timing chip
Well, a
versus
little bit
wetsuit?
higher, there's something about the wrist. So he
Yeah,
should do that too.
I was typing it, but I'll just say it. So personally, for me, when I'm racing, I actually with the timing chips that have Velcro, I have very small, some might call them dainty ankles, and I sometimes don't have enough Velcro. So after I Velcroed, I actually do a little loop of electrical tape around it. It's a little bit harder to get off at the end of the day, but it ensures that it's not going to fall off during the day. And as far as placement with my wetsuit, I put my wetsuit on first, and then I'll roll up the leg down at my calf, attach my timing chip, and if my suit is and I'll roll that back down over the chip, so it's basically underneath the wetsuit, which doesn't impact the ability for the timing wires to pick it up, and that way it's underneath the suit. So when I'm peeling off the suit, it's not trying to tear it off.
Right. But if the timing chip is on your wrist,
That won't work.
Equipment may not pick it up.
Right, it's got to be on your ankle. And when you guys go into the water, like that's one of the things that I'll be right there, and I always look down and make sure you've got those you've got your timing chips on your ankle. So I'll remind you, but yeah, put it on your ankle. You'd be better off. All right. Is there anything else? Did we miss anything else? You guys, is there anything else that we've missed that you want to ask? I was thinking of something. Oh, the for some reason it wasn't in my usual slides for the for transition. Some people ask about like, well, what do I do with all of this stuff? And you're usually bring a towel that's not a big giant bath towel, and put that down to the right of your bike, of your front wheel, and then your helmet is upside down, so that way you'll be able to pick it up and put it on your head, and your sunglasses are sitting in there. And any snack, whatever it is that you want, to take on the bike is there. Your water bottle's already on your bike. Your bike shoes or sneakers are sitting there. Everything is right there lined up. And then your running stuff's behind them. And that way, when you get to transition, it's easy. You know what you have to grab next, and you have to go, not like, oh no, what do I need? If you need, a hat for the run, suggest sunglasses, all of that's all lined up and ready to go. And practice that at home first. Something else that I see that can actually just ruin your race over something stupid is where you put your bike. So it's open biking, open racking. So some people will, they'll rack their bike and then they start talking or thinking about something else. And then when they come out of the swim, usually it's when you come off the bike and you've got your bike with you, and then you're trying to find your transition area, and you can't because you're like, oh yeah, I see it's my bike's over there. But when you have your bike, you're not going to be able to find it. So find your spot wherever it is that you're going to rack your bike, and find some kind of anchor, for a visual anchor, like say across the street, like there's a door, there's a sign or something like that. So that way, okay, I'm going to go and, the third row over, and I'm gonna look for this, this sign or this door or this business, whatever it is, and you'll have much better luck finding your bike. And some of the veteran triathletes still do that. They just they just weren't paying attention when they racked their bike, and then they came out of the swim or the bike transition, and they're like, I have no idea where I'm supposed to go. So that would be helpful.
So if I can answer Susan's, because I enjoy this topic,
Okay.
is why bother wearing a wetsuit? It's plenty warm. I went out there. I was in the water today. It's great. So triathlon may be the sport that is the most analyzed and scientifically part of everything. And so there are people who have done studies on everything and done research on everything having to do with triathlon. So when you're running, 98% of your speed when you're running is from your conditioning and how hard you've trained. Maybe when you're cycling, 95% is on your conditioning, and maybe 5% is the bike and the helmet that you're wearing, the wheels you have. But with swimming, only about a third of your speed comes from your conditioning. The rest comes from your body position and your technique. Swimming is the only discipline which is somewhat similar to tennis in that you're a good tennis player because, yes, you are fit, but mostly because you have wonderful technique and instincts and reflexes. So wetsuits put your body in a better position, more horizontal position than most of us can do without a wetsuit. Now, there's some very good swimmers who are on their swim team in high school and college, and they have wonderful swim body position without a wetsuit. But wetsuits help most of us. I'm about well, in this distance race that we have this weekend in the sprint, I'm at least a minute faster with a wetsuit. Now, I'm not trying to talk you into going out to buy a wetsuit, but that's the reason why you'll see a lot of wetsuits out there, even though it seems like, well, why would you need a wetsuit? But the only wetsuits that really do a good job of putting your body in the right position are triathlon wetsuits, swimming wetsuits. I think if you wear a surfing wetsuit or a kayaking wetsuit, unless it's tight on your body,
Neoprene.
yeah, it's maybe marginally better, but not much better.
And they could even be worse because they're not necessarily designed to have your arms up, and they can actually, create a lot of extra fatigue if they're designed for kayaking where your arms are down to raise your arms up and out.
The scariest thing I see, because Scott and I are on the water, we're lifeguards as well as the spotters for our lifeguard crew, is someone with a ill-fitting wetsuit, because they're basically capturing water and slowing them down like a parachute behind them. But many of our athletes do not have wetsuits, and they do great. So don't feel it's necessary, especially in your first year or two. That can always come along later.
So here's my take on that. So Andy's correct, right? Makes you very buoyant. But if you have not been wearing a wetsuit when you've been training, then you don't want to be wearing it for the first time at a race.
We will link to athlinks as well.
Questions so we can go.
I'm so sorry sorry, my last little bit of internet. Thank you guys for jumping in.
I think
Were you
got
all
the
able
last
to answer the
question.
last? Sorry.
We did.
Okay, excellent. So before our internet gives up again, we are going to say adieu. Thank you all so much for staying on. Thank you for racing with us, particularly if this is your first race. We feel honored that you've decided to do Hyannis 2 for your first race. Triathlon is a super fun sport. Keep in mind, your first race, just have fun. Some people are like, oh no, it's a race, I have to go fast. It's your first race. So you're doing your personal best just by showing up. So, so we look forward to seeing you this next weekend. And if you have any questions, Lori's email has been in there. So she'll help you with any questions, and she'll pass on anything that that somebody else needs to answer. So thank you all so much. Thank you all so
And of
much.
course, yeah, we've already
Oh, my God. Oh, goodness. All right. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
That was professional.
bye everybody.